name is Victoria Munoz. I'm part of Judson Early College Academy, and this is my land stewardship ambassadors project. So my final project topic, I chose to do overconsumption and how it relates to land stewardship. And I'm going to focus on Texas, but it is a worldwide concern. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to ask you guys a question. So in general, how many families do you think could live in this house? Anyone can answer.
5. 5.
This is a house, though.
Or a mansion. It's basically a mansion.
like three families, like 10 people.
3, 4, 5 families.
Okay, yeah. So in reality, probably only one family lives here, and that's an example of just overconsumption in this form. There's many forms, but it overconsumes the land, it overconsumes resources, and also overconsumes water. So that's a problem in Texas now, because we do have ongoing drought. So what is overconsumption? So overconsumption is when we use more natural resources that the earth can't replace back in time. And so that's bad because it causes deforestation, pollution, and other factors. Okay, so how do they relate? So the 3 biggest concerns of overconsumption is deforestation and loss of biodiversity. And so when we take down natural habitats that animals live in, that knocks down biodiversity in the land. And so soil and water are connected in a way, and everything's connected in nature, and so that hurts the land. And then pollution of air and water. When we overconsume, we create waste, producers and consumers. And so where that waste goes is landfills or just the land itself. And then water and soil degradation. So when farmers don't use practical, sustainable practices when farming, it hurts the soil, and soil and water are interconnected. So without good soil, there's no good water, and without good water, there's no good soil. How does land stewardship help with this? So land stewardship, we balance our needs with the earth's needs, and as Texans, we can practice sustainable stewardship by consuming less overall. Okay, so this is a world map of consumption all over the world. The bigger the circle, the more consumption. And what this shows is that more developed nations use 32 times more resources than undeveloped nations. And so the 3 biggest nations are North America, West Europe, and Middle East. And so that's because the more developed the nation is, the more wealthier people that are there. And more wealthy people have more money, and so they don't use that money in practical ways, and then there becomes crisis. Okay, so this is a quote from the University of Alabama. It says, "We rarely ask any questions about the actual cost of what we consume." And so that really relates to today, because as technology progresses, we have more online shopping, and that leaves less time to think about what we buy. And so example can be Amazon's new one-click, one-buy button, and so that leaves little to no time to think about it. And so that just creates more waste, and you don't really think about what you actually buy and the environmental cost that causes. Okay, so it's not just consumers that contribute to overconsumption, but producers. And so there's planned obsolescence, and what that is they purposely design products to basically get destroyed quicker over time. So that can be Apple, that can be Fashion Nova, that can be Shein. Mm-hmm. So they purposely make those die over time so the consumers have to consume more. And then there's advertisements, so they manipulate you through ads. That could be the recycling logo you see on products. And in reality, most of those products can't actually be recycled, and most of them end up in landfills anyway. And then, of course, overproduction, when they plan obsolescence, when they make products die faster, they have to make more and support that. And so that's that. And then aesthetics, same with overproduction. And then the consumer, that's one of our roles. It's a big role. And so how we do that is we actively participate in fast fashion trends. And that's micro trends, we impulse buy. So maybe the cheetah print trend, that was a micro trend. It goes away fast, and once it's over, you want to buy the next trend. And so you contribute to waste and overconsumption. There's hoarding. Of course, maybe you want 10 lotions when you really don't need that. And then frequent purchases with planned obsolescence. If you buy too much of that thing, then if you buy too much cheaply made products, you're going to have to buy more since they die. And then waste, you discard them. Maybe you're like, oh, I didn't really actually need that, and so you discard it, and it ends up in a landfill. Okay, so what can we do as Texans? So as Texans, we can conserve water. We cannot overconsume food and products. We can support local businesses. This reduces emissions and also supports no waste. And then we can also we can reuse and not buy new and think before we buy. And then finally, of course, we should raise awareness in our community, build community, and encourage others to act as well. And so if I want 3 points to go with you guys, it's just to reduce and rethink, conserve and restore, and embracing sustainable stewardship. So just on Wally, if we don't act on this, our world too can become a waste planet, and that's not good. And just like taking these into your mind as you like buy things, you can take a step towards a better future. Okay, now I need to speak about the program. So the Land Stewardship program I took part of in spring of 2025. Their goal is to raise awareness of land stewardship principles, promote civic engagement, inspire students to obtain careers that support land stewardship. And so there's two foundations. There's the Whitty Museum and the East Foundation. The Whitty Museum, they shape the future of Texas through relevant and transformative experience in nature, science, and culture. That was my main campus. And then the East Foundation, they promote the advancement of land stewardship through ranching, science, and education. I got to visit their ranch like a couple weeks ago. It was a really good experience. And then three topics I enjoyed personally was history and conservation. So they gave us a lot of books. So they made sure we were really well educated on various topics. I got to learn about the bulls and how the history was there. And then diversity, that was a Zoom call, and I got to meet two really good professionals. And then water, we went to Confluence Park, and I learned about impermeable and permeable objects. And then this is my information. So they're seeking more applicants for the next cohort. It's November 1st, 2025 of the deadline to apply. It's 2026, next spring semester. There's 10 sessions. And then it's free to participate at no cost. And then once you complete it, you get $400. And if you want more information, you can always talk to me. And yeah, that's it.